What is design for manufacturing? Basically, it is how do you design a product in such a way that it enables easy manufacturing and low cost manufacturing. Some of the techniques which are used in design for manufacturing are: first, minimizing the number of parts in a product, using common parts across many products, eliminating fasteners in the products to cut down on the assembly time, eliminating using jigs and fixtures during assembly, eliminating the adjustments which are required to be made during the assembly, eliminating errors during assembly by design, for example by color coding. All these techniques actually reduce the cost of manufacturing and thereby make the product cheaper to manufacture, thus opening up more markets for the company. How else can you improve in terms of design for manufacturing? You can also consider customer assembly wherever possible. If the customer assembles your product, for example, what IKEA allows you to do is to buy a box with all the components and then assemble it yourself. If the customer does the assembly, the cost is reduced for them because the company doesn't have to assemble the product and transport it in an assembled form. You can also minimize the system complexity to allow for easy assembly. You can isolate the parts that require frequent replacements. So, for example, if a part is going to wear out, you can place it in such a way that the customer can easily take it out and replace it rather than bringing it back to the factory for a formal replacement by the company itself. You can choose modular architecture in all the parts that require repair, upgrade and replacements. You can choose integral architecture to reduce the cost and improve on the desired performance parameters. Through design for manufacturing, you can make choices of both modular architecture as well as integral architecture to give a combination that is more effective for that product. Swatch provides an example of how it is done. Swatch was actually a response to the Japanese quartz watches which were flooding the market at very low prices. The Swatch was the first to use integral architecture in watches. Till then, the watches were made using modular architecture where there was a mechanism which was mass manufactured and then put into the case which the company would make. Swatch was the first to use an integral architecture structure where everything was, all the components were mounted on a base plate inside the watch itself and not as a separate module. There was a drastic reduction of parts which gave it higher reliability. They also lowered costs by using a lot of new rugged quality materials. They also lowered costs by using a fully automated assembly system, and the watch was finally sealed. It cannot be repaired at all. By choosing an integral architecture, they created a product which was very compact, very efficiently manufactured and very high on reliability. But on the outside of the watch, they use modular dials to provide very high variety. So, they were able to bring out more than 200 or 300 designs in the initial year itself by providing more variety on the face of the watch, whereas the inside of the watch was identical across all these products. They also sold the watches at lower prices, which made it a very good value buy for potential users. So, even though the Swiss business was on the high cost, costly mechanical watches, they were able to capture some part of the low priced category, but by giving a product that is superior in quality, they were able to retain the image of being a high quality manufacturer. Shimano is another case where this combination of integral and modular architecture can be used to revolutionize an industry. The bicycle component industry was actually a fragmented industry. Different companies would make different components and they would expect that users would buy different components based on the quality of those components and combine them into their bicycle's gear system. Shimano was the one which introduced what is called a click shift gear changing system, which was actually a combination of multiple components. They also integrated the click shift system into an optimized set with the rail, crank and brakes also integrated into one compact kit which the manufacturer could buy. What they realized was that the user needs on gears were far more homogeneous than they were thought by manufacturers. Users accepted the option of an optimized set instead of going for individual components bought from different manufacturers, which could be a suboptimal set. The brand recognition, they had branding on the handle of the bicycle. This actually also enabled them to get more visibility, along with the higher quality, made Shimano the dominant gear design in this market. By 1997, Shimano had 86 to 98% market share in different markets in the area of gears. They did so by integrating a more fragmented industry into creating a kit which was far more effective from the user's point of view.